Yeah, just wanted to show you a nice example of a spring garden. There's lots of colour now in late April. This is the case here, and we have this little meandering pathway coming through, and that's just simple access into the rest of the garden here. But the main shade, which a lot of these woodland gardens do quite well, is provided by these birch trees here. And they have lovely silver bark, and that bark then, as they get older, peels, you can see here, and it's very appealing really. I think it's lovely. So those trees will live for 30-40 years, no problem, and very easy to keep. Just plant them and leave them be really. So over here now we have columbine or aquilegia, and they're available in different colours, and they love this kind of dapple shade that you get underneath trees. You can see there's different colours here as well. There's white and pink, and once they're planted, generally they seed themselves around and little baby ones pop up nice and easily. And there's primroses. There's red, yellow. And the primroses, really, these are Polyanthus as they call them, so these have a stem where they come up tall, and I think they're nicer actually because the flowers are up a little bit higher and nice and proud of the plants. And then we have bluebells. These bluebells are clever little fellas really. They grow, flower and produce the seeds before the leaves and the trees actually come out properly. So we have overhead here a beech tree, which is only a young tree really. And the bluebells then multiply underneath, so as you can see here, they've spread quite nicely. And I'm lucky enough that we have blue ones, there's pink ones and white, just the snow white ones, and the blue ones here. So these will actually be gone within really a month. They'll have died down under the ground and done their work for this year. And we've also put in some tulips here as well. Not too many of them, just enough to make a nice little bit of colour, I think. This, and the daffodils have finished for this year. Down here then we have some primroses. These are double ones, so they have an extra frill of petals in the middle, and I'm particularly fond of them really. So that's it for the woodland garden anyway. Hope you enjoyed looking at it. Now it's Malachy here for the Avellana festival, and just going to show you some of the fruit side of things here that we do at home. This is a raspberry, so that's one of the golden fruited ones, and you can see here that the first few flowers are just starting to form on them now. But we do them in these wooden boxes here with grass around, because raspberries spread like mad, so they can be a nuisance in the vegetable garden area. So the idea is that if they do escape out of these boxes, that the lawnmower will trim off any little baby ones that sprout around. And in this bed here we have strawberries, and you can see the first of the flowers all opening up now, so should be a good crop of strawberries this year, I think. We do them with polythene underneath to keep the fruit clean, and because it's black it's warm, attracts the sun as such, and easy maintenance. And then we put hoops of plastic piping over with some netting over that to stop the blackbirds from eating the strawberries before we get to them. Next in line we have asparagus, which is just sprouting up now, about 2 foot tall, and I'd say next year we should be able to pick a good few of the asparagus plants. These are only fairly new. And here in this section then we have 2 crops in the one area, so we have rhubarb, and we also have blackberries on top. And you can see that the blackberries here are just getting their first few flowers. So you'll find that cultivated blackberries, while larger as well, they flower earlier, so you have fruited earlier than the wild ones. Next then we have currants, and in our garden here we have red, white and black currants all in one little area there. And the idea of these is that they're planted in the polythene as well to keep maintenance for me easy. Next in line then we have pear trees that are done in what's called espalier. So they're done like a fan, trained on posts and bamboos, and tied in then as they grow and trimmed to suit. And that's a space saving technique really that the French started when they in wall gardens years ago. They were tight for space, so they used to train them like this to save space, get more fruit in the given area. And then in this area then we have gooseberries. So the gooseberries now have little tiny flowers on them, and that's going to be a good crop of gooseberries this year, I think. What we're doing is I have them on trained up bamboos with 8 or 10 inches of stem. So that's the idea, is that the fruit will be easy to pick. I'll be able to put my hand underneath and pull the gooseberries off all along the stem, which is a lot easier than getting spiked with a very bushy looking gooseberry. So that was the idea there. And just in behind we have tayberries, which are trained up and along wires here. And we have 2 plants here, and 2 plants should be enough for one garden really. So you can see all next year's, what will be next year's fronds and stems is sprouting now from the base. And this is last year's growth, which is just flowering now, so there should be a good crop on this year's lot. So that's it for the fruit side of things in my garden. Thanks very much. Now we have here some rhododendrons. I was lucky enough when I was younger to work in Mount Congreve Gardens, and so I became particularly fond of rhododendrons and azaleas, which of course is part of the major collection in Mount Congreve. And just thought I'd show you 1 or 2 little rhododendrons that I have anyway, that I'm particularly fond of, and I love scents. So this one here is a rhododendron loderi, it's called, L-O-D-E-R-I, and it has particularly large flowers. You can see my hand here now holding 1 flower, so it's the width of a palm really. And these things, they smell like melon, maybe mixed with apple. There's a beautiful scent off them, and in the evening time particularly it's really sweet. And unfortunately the flowers don't last that long. They come out a little bit blush pink like that, just beginning to open up, and then within 2 days they'll have opened up into a full flower like that. Now rhododendrons love kind of shady, dapple shade, which is exactly what we have here. We have some trees, a little baby oak tree here, and they give enough shade, yet at the same time leave enough light in for the rhododendrons to quite happily thrive. And on the ground here we have bark and chips and loads of nice things that rot down and make lovely humusy soil, it's called. It makes it lovely soft, free draining, and lots of nice food in it for the rhododendrons. So they do quite well here. So loderi will actually get quite big in the end. It'll grow to about 16 feet high, given time, and you could clip them if you ever wanted to. And then the other side of the family, this is a rhododendron, and these are azalea. And azaleas are also rhododendrons really, it's just that they were divided into 2 different groups to make it easier for people to understand. So generally azaleas are smaller flowers, but have a lot more flowers and more compact. So this one here is out. This one is Hatsugiri, and this one is Azalea camphori, but they're not out yet. So this is the good thing about having different varieties, because you will get a succession of colour. And this rhododendron here again is not out yet, but it'll be out now in another week or so. And these are quite large purple flowers. I have one other one to show you over here. And this one here is Rhododendron fragrantissima. If you just look at the back of the flowers there, how gorgeous they are. Look, all the pink flush, and then inside snow white. And the scent of these, hence the name fragrantissima, is absolutely beautiful, really strong scent. Again, like apples, melons, and the scent will drift in the wind. It's beautiful. The plant itself is a little bit ugly. It's kind of loose, very loose looking branches and things on it. See the way? It doesn't get quite bushy, but I don't mind. It's an absolutely gorgeous thing. And then another plant then from Antonga originally would be the camellias. And they do quite well in this kind of a shade as well. So that's a red one called Ace of Hearts. Lovely shiny leaves. That's it. I hope you enjoyed watching the rhododendrons. Thank you. I've just brought you down to the woodland kind of natural nature reserve, as I like to think it is, isn't it? It's part of our land here that we've left to nature, and we carefully manage it in a kind of a gentle way so that we can have nice things in it and allow room for loads of wildlife. So what I've done originally is I planted in hazel plants here, and they actually do give us nuts. We got quite a lot of nuts here this autumn, and they're very easy to grow. These are only about 4 years old now, and they're about 8 feet high. And in amongst the hazelnut we put in oak trees, which are just going into leaf now, and they're about 16 feet high. One or two little ornamental plants here and there, sneaky ones, just like the rhododendron there, and they will enjoy it. Down bark mulch chipped wood really is a footpath, so that'll keep firm foot underneath. So you can see all the hazelnuts all around us here, and I've allowed blackthorns and things to grow as well. Just coming on down the pathway here. It's a place to enjoy nature really. So you can see this cow parsley here, which some gardeners wouldn't allow to live, but quite happy to leave them grow here. We got marsh marigolds, and in this area here we have some white bluebells, primroses, and they're all nestled around an old well here, which used to serve our house here one time. So I like to keep things like this. So I'll head on down the pathway, and I'll show you what we did last year. So this footpath now opens up onto a grass footpath. I planted in young trees all around here. It's all oak trees and hazelnuts again. This was only done relatively recently. The hazelnuts are quite young, but eventually it will be a little woodland with this lake here. And it's a very peaceful place really. And I built a little jetty here out of salvaged timber, and some barrels underneath that float and keep the jetty up. My father's old boat. Birch trees, and as I say, there's a few magnolias and things like this. The main reason for this is not just that it's ornamental and nice to look at. It's a nature reserve for me and the wildlife. Nice to see the reflections in the water there. And in the morning time, the birds here, they singing mad. So we have bog irises. As I said, there's a few ornamentals like the lilies here. And in the springtime you can hear the frogs croaking mad, and the place is alive with little baby frogs in the autumn time. So the water here is fed in from natural springs, and it stays very clear all the time. when the heron visits, and all the swallows collect the mud here for their nests. I think in a couple of years' time, when these trees here, when they grow up, they'll be a great little spot. So, hope you've enjoyed looking at the lake here. Thanks very much.